Right then guys, welcome to Let's Talk About. My name is Liam.
And my name's Billy. Every Sunday we will be here to bring you episodes about all things weird, scary and spooky.
We cover everything from ghosts, aliens, surviving a zombie apocalypse, true crime. We've even spoken about a talking mongoose. No topic is off limits.
Hey, don't you two be forgetting about us.
No, of course, there's no chance of forgetting about you two, is there? How's that experiment going?
Mind your own business.
Sorry, Igor. We've both actually been writing some scary stories of our own for Terrifying Tales. If you and your master want to read them.
We don't need your help, you stupid, worthless pair of...
Anyway, so this is Let's Talk About. You can listen every Sunday, 7 a.m. UK time.
And the last Sunday of every month, you'll hear from the delightful pair, Igor and his master, over at Terrifying Tales.
See you there.
Now then, witches and beautiful souls, you're listening to the Bell Witch podcast, Witching in the 21st Century, with me, Swailes, the friendly green witch. This is episode 30, woohoo, round number, and this amazing episode is another Moot Loot with a gorgeous guest, Sareta from Wax Spiritual, which is a fantastic new little witchy biz that's opened down in Colchester in Essex, which just happens to be the oldest city in the UK, so definitely haunted. We had a great time chatting all things candle magic, spells, things that go bump in the night, and it does get a little bit weird towards the end, so do hang around for that. Sareta's another punky mum from Punky Family that reached out to me after I asked if anybody wanted to come and be a guest on the show on the Facebook group. And you know, Sareta used to actually have her own podcast with another fellow host called Women Who Rebrand. I started listening to it before I interviewed Sareta and it was so good. It's a really, really good podcast about transformation and business. It's not the kind of podcast I'd go looking for because I usually listen to, spooky true crime and conspiracy and spiritual and stuff. But when I listened to it on my jog, I were absolutely piss himself laughing, and the two hosts have such a good chemistry. It really is worth a listen if you're looking for something a bit entrepreneurial, good light-hearted fun with excellent observations about women in business and how awesome we are. A right good celebration of women in business. Do check that out, won't you? Because it is cracking. And also, after you have listened to this amazing interview, can I ask you to go and vote her shop Wax Spiritual in the Colchester in Business Awards, which is just cracking. She opened in November and she is shortlisted for an amazing new business achievement award. It's dead easy to do because you just literally go to the website in colchester.co.uk and the awards are right there, and you just look for a shop, Wax Spiritual, press vote, boom, you're done. And that's one vote right there. It is so awesome, so easy. In fact, I'll just add it in the show notes below, and I am sending her so much luck because I really, really wanted to win. It'd be amazing. Pretty spiffing award, maybe some cash to get her going for this fabulous witch's shop. So good luck, Sareta. We're rooting for your root worker witch. We're rooting. Ooh, anyway, gotta take a breath, Swailes. I'm so excited. How you doing? I hope you're all right. I am feeling so fantastic and really positive about the future of the Bell Witch podcast. I just keep hitting little milestones. I'm nearly at 200 reviews on Spotify. I'm hanging around in those podcast charts because of you, so thank you so much. It's really a big achievement to stay in the podcast charts, even though you're not producing a new episode as you're in there. So it really does fill my little witchy heart with glee. Thank you so much. And another big milestone is the Bell Witch podcast now has official merch. Can you believe that? I've spent quite some time wondering if I should or not. And it's been over a year, and a couple of people did say to me, like, do you not have a t-shirt or something? And I was a bit like, no, should I? I don't know if anybody would actually buy them. Anyway, I looked into it and I forgot about it, and then I looked into it again, and then I got Patreon, and Patreon has an option where you can add merch. So then I looked into it again, got my new logo, and so I just messed about putting it on t-shirts, and then I ordered myself one to see if it actually looked alright and it fit alright and it wasn't pixelated, and it is fantastic and I really love it. So I'm going to be some kind of like billboard advert. A sandwich board. A sandwich. Get it? A sandwich board. Walking advert. So when I go to Uncanny Live in 222, I'll wear it, and then I might even gain a few new listeners, which would be awesome. So if you're listening back to this and you saw my t-shirt, thanks. Thanks for looking at it, and thanks for coming and finding me. I've already sold one t-shirt and one mug, so I'm feeling pretty epic about it. Big thank you to Annabelle for my first ever sale. Been listening to other podcasts, and a theme that keeps coming up is feng shui. It's funny because, maybe 2 weeks ago I was listening to the Wellbeing Witches, and they were talking about feng shui. And I thought to myself, I did get into that a few years back, and then I just forgot about it. And under my bed, I know is a big deal, because they say you should have a clear bed underneath, and it's just full of stock and tarot cards. So now I'm really thinking, where can I put all this stuff that's under my bed, so the energy can flow. Also, I made a money bowl reel that's on my Instagram at the moment, Friendly Green Witch, and that sits proud on the altar, and I keep finding £1 in my pocket or fivers and putting it in there and writing checks to myself, putting some dollar in there, and just practicing gratitude and feeling good about my life and smashing milestones and not taking things so personally and letting stuff go, sleeping well, jogging. It's all just adding up. Yeah, it's amazing. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy. Today I've just spent the day cleaning out drawers and under the sink, and then I washed the front door down with warm soapy water and a few essential oils, just to give it a bit of glamour spell. Mindfully cleaned the door so it's lovely and white, and then I cleaned the porch, because in feng shui, the door is where the chi comes in. Is it chi or is it chai? Like chai tea or chi tea? Oh God, I do this to my brain. It is not good. I'm so dyslexic. So it's like, if it's not clean, your chi won't come in easy. It'll almost be repelled. So a good thing to do to begin with accepting abundance in your life and good energy flowing around your house, they say, is open lots of windows, let the air circle around your house, and clean your front door and your front windows inside and out, and that helps bringing that chi into your house, flow around and all that. So yeah, I'm really inspired by it, and it just keeps coming into my face, the theme of feng shui. So I'm going to have to get some books from the library and have a read up, and maybe do a little podcast episode on what I find and stuff. And I know there's a lot of podcast episodes already on this subject. Maybe I could give it a bit of a witchy angle. I don't know. What do you think? If you have any ideas, do let me know, and email thebellwitchpodcast@yahoo.com and just speak to me. Are you there? Are you listening? I want to know. I need some input. If you've got any ideas that you want me to talk about, something like feng shui, do slide into my DMs. What else? I wanted to talk to you as well about a little experiment I did a few weeks ago, mostly when I was doing Friendly Coven, which amazingly I do mention on this interview, which I did back in maybe it's start of February, which is amazing. It's like I manifested it because I said it on an interview. But we were doing messages from the universe. So I was getting my coven to ask the universe for a sign, because I'd read a bit on it and done it before with the slice of orange. So the theory goes, to see an orange is quite common, but to see a sliced orange is less common. You see lots of sliced lemons and limes in bars and stuff, but when do you see a sliced orange just hanging around? So I thought, oh yeah, I'll ask for that. So I meditated on it, spoke to the universe saying, if you listen to me, please can you show me a sign in the way of a sliced up orange? And it was a Tuesday morning, because I remember I dropped my kids off at school. I went to Morrison's thinking, yeah, I'll see a sliced orange at Morrison's, because that is such an easy route for the universe to take. And I was really keeping my eyes peeled for this sliced orange. And I was a bit sort of sad when I didn't see one. So I walked up to the crystal booth with Angela and did a shift there. And for lunch, she said, as she always does, do you fancy some chips? Tuesday chips? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want Tuesday chips. So she ran across the road to the amazing legendary fish shop in Yeadon, and then came back with a couple of cans of pop and a portion of chips for us to share. I'd forgotten all about the orange sign, started eating my chips, and then she opened her can of Fanta, and on the Fanta was the slice of orange, and I was just like, bloody hell. I forgot all about that, but there it is on your can of pop, this slice of orange as the logo. Thank you, universe, for proving yourself to me yet again, you legend. It's Podcast Pals. Right then, for this Podcast Pals, because I've been doing all this abundance, manifesting shiz, I have been binge listening to the Canny Crystals podcast with Matt, and it is so good. I mean, I can see why it's always trending at position 1 and 2 and 3 in the podcast charts. It's just so engaging, and Matt's really lovely. He's such a nice guy. He comes across really genuine, really caring, really honest, open. He gives away all this knowledge, and he's just so incredibly lucky and abundance, you know, and he's got this amazing gemstone business called Canny Crystals, which he started, I think, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and he did it. He used to work for the NHS, and as the podcast goes, you know, he's updating you on his life, and he quits his full-time NHS job that he's done for 15 years, which is a huge deal, to go full-time with Canny Crystals, which has just taken off, and his life is abundant, and he just gives you so much hope, and he's rooting for you. He wants you to do well. He's just so inspiring. As a podcaster, I hope my show becomes like his, you know, in the way of being engaging and well-liked and well-respected. Yeah, it'd be lovely just to be up there with him in the legendary podcast land. Inspires me creatively, and also he inspires me really spiritually. Matt is genuinely changing the way I'm thinking about my life and the way I'm thinking about manifesting, looking at things through positivity rather than negativity, catching myself when the negative thoughts start creeping into my head. I mean, I'm even sleeping better, and I'm giving so much stuff away, and it's really beautiful because I can breathe, me altering my mindset and taking chances and getting the milestones and doing the t-shirts and stuff. I do reckon a lot of it is to do with me binge listening Canny Crystals. I mean, his podcast has been going a long time, so I've got masses of podcasts to catch up on. He's in the hundreds now, and I think I've just finished 26 or something, and then half an hour long about each time. But they're so good to listen to while you're doing chores, while you're driving, while you're just like walking to school. I haven't got anything like a trailer or anything. I haven't asked. I don't think, well, he probably would. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm big enough to ask him to send me a trailer if he even has one. I don't know if he does. He probably does. You see, I'm blushing now. I'm getting all like fangirly over the podcast. I got my Moldavite from Mart, which is how I found canny crystals. So yeah, if you've got any room in your life for any more podcasts, highly recommend it. And I aspire to be as light and as successful as the Canny Crystals podcast one day in the future. So thank you to lovely Mart up in the north of England. And that's your lot from me and the long ass intros that I do, which is just right good fun. I'm going to hit play on the amazing Moot Loot interview right now, so sit back, relax and enjoy. Hello and welcome to my Little Witchy podcast. I've got another guest, second of the day, which is so amazing for me. I'm on a roll. May I welcome Sareta from Wax Spiritual.
Hello.
Now then, so I was just having a quick nosy. You used to do a podcast a few years back, and I just got a little bit through the first episode and I were like, I want to listen to it all.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I stopped doing that early 2022. So first episode, very different direction to where we ended up. And to be fair, it was just, I think it started off just a bit of fun, really, like chatting to a mate, chatting about things. And then I'm like, I get a bit all serious. I'm like, right, this needs to be professional. This needs to go somewhere. This has to have a reason and intention. And then it did. And I think I lost the fun of it and then just got caught up into that kind of podcast world, which I think is quite easy to get into. I think, podcast awards and you have to do this and you have to have this and perfect. And I'm like, that's all well and good, but it kind of took the fun out of it, to be honest.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it just served the purpose. I love talking to guests and I learned so much, but I think that chapter's closed. Yeah, I'm just onto something different, which has been really exciting.
You're going to tell us about it?
Oh! So Wax Spiritual is my new baby, new everything. The thing is, I've called myself spiritual for a very long time. I've dabbled with like spell work and I say that I practice hoodoo, but elements of it, very much into crystals. And I think that's kind of where the majority of quote unquote spiritual people start. They're like, oh, crystals, what's this? This is cool. And everyone's got rose quartz and that kind of thing. As much as I loved it, I think I kind of wanted to delve a bit deeper. But with the shop, Wax Spiritual, this is the first time where I've been properly deep in like spiritual and spell work type of thing and been incorporated in my work per se. So it's very different and I'm absolutely loving it. You know, when you find like you're on the right path and you're like, everything's aligned, like everything, you're like, oh, what is this world? This feels new and sparkly and I just love it. I just love it.
So your shop opened in
November 2023.
Wow.
Yes.
Gosh.
Very new. So when it started, Wax Spiritual is obviously the name. And it's a case of when people come in, they're like, this is amazing, looks amazing, smells amazing every day. But I think people recognize it's not just about one thing. There's elements of many different things underneath the umbrella that I call spirituality. So there is spell work, there's candles, there's divination tools, there's a small amount of crystals. The crystals that I get in, I'm very much like, they complement the other things in the shop and the other kind of spell work and herbs, roots, powders, oils, that kind of thing. So it's very different. Not to say like, when you go to maybe a crystal shop or a spiritual shop, usually they are kind of focused on Wicca or crystal shops. You have the dragons and the silver jewelry, which is amazing. But I just felt like there was just something else that was needed. Like when I was buying things for myself and the spell work that I do, I found myself having to order online or order things from America in bulk, which is really expensive. So it was kind of to cater, to myself, But
brilliant.
just others as well. And we have books, which I always found a bit difficult to buy myself. Always had to buy online again from America, and artwork as well. So it's little bits of everything.
Like little bits of you.
Yeah,
In a shop.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very. I feel like I'm really self-centered because I'm like, I love that. That's why I put it in. And
Totally.
that what was it? There's a tote bag that's here, and it's like something about speaking to friends, and it's like a picture of people in a graveyard. I'm like, yeah, I bought that because I thought it was really funny.
So are you primarily selling candles?
No, not even. It's very mixture. Very a mixture of things. As I'm looking around, there's a section on ex voto stuff. So that's like Catholic kind of artwork, altar things, spell oils, candles, crystals, tarot cards. Just loads. There's like a little bath section, but everything that we have is kind of connected to spirituality in a way. And I say spirituality in the sense of it's just this massive umbrella that so many things underneath falls, if that makes sense. We have supplies as well, and some traditional things that I kind of saw growing up in my home but didn't realize what they were for, like Florida water, for instance. A very traditional kind of, I would say Caribbean, but it plays into other areas as well. That's like when people come in, they're like, so what's Florida water? It says cologne. And I'm like, well, imagine smudging or sage sticks in liquid form. That's kind of what I say. So there's loads of things that are kind of new to a lot of people if they've only kind of been able to shop in one kind of store or seen one kind of element of spell work. So yeah, I'm kind of, I guess, educating folks to new things. And it's amazing because they are starting to branch out of their traditional work and kind of implement other things, which is kind of what I do as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I love Florida water. I go through loads of it. I use it. I just did an altar episode, and I mentioned Florida water because I dust with it because it's amazing to dust your house with, and it keeps the dust actually away. And I wash my face in it.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, I put it on my hair sometimes, but mostly I wash my face. On a morning, it's just like you bless your face. And
Yeah, essentially. Good
I
vibes
love it.
everywhere.
Yeah, totally. And I love the smell of it. You know what I mean? It smells
Yes.
gorgeous. I like your background of all your herbs.
Thank you.
Did you create a
yeah,
book?
I did. So I'm actually sitting behind my cash desk. So when people come in, I'm often sitting here, and I'm like, yeah, because my heating's up there, got everything behind me. So when I first opened the shop, I had probably half of this behind me, and that's what I use to do my work. So predominantly, I do candle work, which is my jam. I love. I also do like spell jars and stuff, but I had this behind me to be able to do the candles that I would have on the shop floor. But so many people are like kind of coming up to the cash desk and just kind of looking like that. And I'd have to be like, these aren't actually for sale. It's just what I do for the candles. And they're like, oh, okay.
That's why you can't see them.
Yeah, exactly. That's why the
teeny
tag is so small. It's not like it looks like a sweet shop. I mean, yeah, but it's not. But then other people would be like coming up and be like, right, can I have a gram of Angelica, please? And I'm like, I mean, I guess I could. I don't mind sharing. So then I was like, do you know what? It makes total sense to sell the stuff behind me. So I have smaller quantities hanging up because it just makes sense. Because again, I totally understand. It's like you might need about a fraction, like half a gram of something to go in something. And then when you're ordering it online, it's like, I have to get 10 kilograms. And it's just a bit of a waste. It's so expensive just to do something. So I've done smaller quantities of things that are, I guess, ordered from overseas or things that are a bit difficult to get hold of. Behind me, I have rosemary and my fave bay leaves and stuff. I don't sell that because, you can go to wherever to get that. So it's more of the things that are really difficult to get hold of, or the things that you would have to buy loads of, I've just put in smaller quantities. So it's been great. In terms of the shop, I've learned a lot from customers and kind of just curated it to suit the needs of the people that are coming in, which has been fantastic.
It sounds so lovely, like a proper witchy shop that I'd love to come down and visit, and I will do. It's on the bucket list.
Oh.
But you mentioned on your email that you don't call yourself a witch, you call yourself a root worker.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what's that? What's that? Tell me more.
So again, this is kind of another thing that I don't know. So again, when I was thinking about the shop, so everyone that's listening, the shop is in Colchester. I've been in Colchester for 10 years. And again, I've dabbled, but it's not, I think for me, if you're not within the community, it's not really something you speak about. Like the other day, I was going for my sock drawer and I found this spell jar that I made. It must be like 5 years old. I'm like, I remember that. That's well cute. But it's not something that you possibly bring up to people. So I didn't know how well received the shop would be. I mean, there's amazing crystal shop in Colchester, but that's kind of the extent of it. It's like crystals, yeah, cool. But I didn't really know the community. I didn't know how many people did work. But when the shop opened, I think that I just realized that people were very open about what they did. And it's like, yep, I'm a witch. I do this. I do dark magic. And this is this. And I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. And it's like, again, when I first opened, I'm like, right, I don't want the shop to be corny. I don't want it to be like a tourist attraction where it's a bit like, oh, witches, pointy hats kind of thing.
Harry Potter.
Yes. Bless him. I didn't want it to be that kind of corny, that kind of thing. So I was like, I'm going to buy things in. I'm going to steer clear of the word witch and that kind of thing. And the more I met people, I'm like, well, maybe witch isn't actually a bad word. Like, I think I just had it in my head that it just wouldn't be well received. I think I thought, there's going to be people with pitchforks, like religious people, like telling me that I'm worshipping Satan and stuff. So I just kind of steer clear of that. So when it comes to kind of labeling myself, or when people come into the shop and they're like, so you're a witch? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Am I? I don't know. I do spell work. I do things. So maybe I am. So I don't know. I don't know. But in terms of the word root worker, I think because along my spiritual journey, I've looked into hoodoo. And I think for me, that's kind of the direction that kind of resonated with me. I really kind of, I was drawn to it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So in terms of root worker, me being me, putting labels on things and words actually making sense. It's like, well, someone that works with roots, someone that works with herbs and powders and oils. So that was me just trying to label it. But in terms of a witch, I that could mean so many things, right? Like a witch does spell work. So I don't know. Am I a witch? I guess. I don't know.
I think you are.
Yeah. Like, how would you define witch?
Just somebody who uses like nature and to sort of bend reality a little bit and trust the universe and be just more spiritually aware. It doesn't mean, I don't really do magic that much, if I'm honest. I don't have time, for one thing.
Yeah.
And I'm also really aware of always requiring and asking for stuff. I'm trying to learn the whole, like, be grateful for what you've got right now. Because 10 years ago, you were dreaming of it. So perhaps I don't need to ask for stuff via magic all the time.
Yes. And I say this, it's like, I feel like I'm practicing more because I'm in the shop, but then I have to remind myself, well, I'm not actually making this for me. Like, I'm dressing candles to go on the shelves. I'm dressing things for custom orders. I don't know the last time I actually did a spell for myself. And it's like, yeah, I found that spell jar in the drawer, whatever. So it's not something that I would heavily rely on. And I kind of remind people, it's like, it's good to kind of get by without having to do that extra, but sometimes you leave that little finesse or that little sparkle, but don't rely on it, because
Totally. Yeah.
you have to have life lessons, you have to learn along the way, otherwise you're not going to, and then it's just not really authentic, I guess.
That's true. Yep. Yeah, I agree. And I do magic as a custom spells for others, and that
Mm,
I guess that's enough when you're a practitioner and you're providing magic for others.
mm,
Then you're still doing magic, but it's not for your personal
exactly.
requirements. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know when the podcast is going out, but recently I feel like I'm doing a lot of love work, and I think that's obviously for Valentine's Day. And I've had so many interesting conversations, and people are like, "What's this oil?" It says, I can't remember the name of it, like Temptress. I'm like, okay,
Give them that
okay,
look.
let's talk about Temptress. And I'm like in terms of Temptress for me, and using that within spell work, it is attracting other people, but I feel like it's bringing out, first and foremost, what's inside you anyway. So drawing out your confidence, drawing out this, ooh, whatever you have inside, and then you'll attract the people. So I think with spell work as well, everything is from within, it's just drawing it out. I think
Mhm.
that's kind of the best way to
Yeah,
describe it,
that's
to
good.
be
That's a
honest.
good way. Yeah. Your thing then, which you're going to tell
Mhm.
us all about tonight,
Okay.
is your master subject is it candles and candle magic?
Ah, I love it. Yes, candle magic. Yes. Where would you like to begin?
I don't know. How long do you want to talk to me?
Well, and I think with spell work, I don't know. I don't know how you've got into like being a witch or whatever, but I feel like I kind of just done it forever, but didn't really know that I was doing spells. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the first ever, in my mind, all right, the first ever spell I did and didn't realize it was a spell. There was a boy, and essentially it was cutting ties, really. I had his picture, printed it, whatever, tore it up into pieces, said what I had needed to say, and flushed it down the toilet. And I'm like, babes, that was a spell. You
Yeah.
essentially got rid of that person. I was like, wow. But even with candles, I think I've always just been drawn to that element. I've always had candles around me. I've always done things over candles, but not really realized it was spell work. So I don't even know where that comes from. I guess it's from within. But in terms of what I do in the shop and custom work, candle work is probably my favorite thing to do, and incorporating, as I said before, herbs, roots, powders, and all the colors as well. They've been so many different things, and I'm just like, I get so excited.
Me too. Oh my god.
Yeah. So Valentine's Day, I've gotten to try some other shapes. I think that's the first time I've done shapes like image candles, so like male and female kind of thing. And I think with candle work, obviously you don't need, I know there's that thing of, oh well, you might need to have a red candle or a black candle for whatever, but you don't need to, because you can use any color. But I feel like, when you just need that extra bit of sauce, like you got some chips and you're like, it's going to taste a bit better with some mayo or some spicy mayo. It's just like elevating it. So I think that's why I love candles so much, because it's like you can just be so extra with it, and it just like adds that little bit of sauce to it. Yeah, the image candles are very interesting. Very interesting, I think, because there's just so many things and so many possibilities with that. For instance, if I'm dressing, say, a green candle in a jar, that's traditionally like prosperity, money drawing, that kind of thing. And if I've just got the plain green candle, then I would dress it. So dressing would basically mean adding things to it. So oils, for instance. So there's intention oils, which essentially are made from different plants, different herbs. It's kind of like a concentrated form. So it's a really strong element. And obviously they smell really good as well. So I will add oils to that, and to add oils to a candle that's already solid, it would just be a case of poking holes in it and getting the oils into it, and then kind of, it's a bit sensual, like rubbing the candle
Ooh.
with the oil in a certain way, and then adding particular herbs, roots, powders to it as well. And that is like a whole ritual within your candle, which is amazing. I just love it. But with the image candles, like I said, the male and female kind of candles, I've incorporated that all whilst pouring it into that form, which I got a bit excited about, because I'm like, oh, it's all inside. Oh, it must be amazing. So yeah, as you can tell, I get a bit excited. But there's so many things that I want to try. But I'm like, one, I don't have the time. It's very time consuming. But I do have a shop. So I'm like very conscious of, I can't just run ahead and just make all the things that I want to make, because realistically, not everyone is going to come in for a purple male candle that does XYZ. It's very specific. So I'm kind of working a bit seasonally, and then having things available on the website that people can actually order in custom, because it makes sense, because I think spell work can be quite personal as well, especially if like there is something specific that you want to do. Yeah, like I said, the shop's only been open since November. It's now we're early February, and I guess in terms of what people have been asking for, or what people would like, I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's probably to do with the time of year. So most popular request that I had in January was money drawing, which makes total sense. You come out of Christmas, everyone's just like a bit broke because they've overspent on things that they really didn't want to spend money on. Yeah, money drawing, but also like new beginnings and cutting ties and moving forward, less procrastination, that kind of thing. And as I said, now we're moving into February, so it's like love magic and that kind of thing. So I think it's very seasonal, but so I'm quite interested to see what would be next. I don't know. I'm working on some new moon and full moon candles, and just having that as part of a range, because I've had a few people come in to discuss things. So I offer quote unquote spiritual consultations. And essentially what I found was people would come in and be like, I don't know what I'm looking for, but, and then just reel off all the things that they've got going on. Like, I'm a bit of this and this is happening and la la la. I'm like, sometimes I think we just need to have a sit down, babes, and just sit down for like half an hour, maybe, and discuss what's going on. Because I found that more times than often, when I'm listening to what people think they want, it's not necessarily what they need. So, for instance, someone could come in and be like, I just think that I need maybe a new job, or I'm a bit bored or something. I think maybe I need to be a bit more creative and blah, 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 blah. So have you got a candle for that? I'm like, all right, let's rewind a bit. And then kind of through listening, it's like, right, well, it seems to me like there's blockages. There's something keeping you from progressing. You need to move forward, but that means getting rid of the things that no longer serve you. So bad habits like procrastination, because then you're making way for opportunities and what you do want to do. So in terms of, I guess, that, working with like full moon rituals and incorporating candles within that and burning things, I've written a whole list of things that no longer serve me and putting that into that. I think that's quite symbolic, and I love the fact that so many things can tie into one another, if that makes sense. So the new moon and stuff like that, and candle magic, and incorporating that for a 7-day period, which goes with the candles that I make as well. So yeah, I think it's just interesting in terms of the shop as well. And like I said, there's so many different influences within the shop. It's not just Wicca, it's not just hoodoo, it's not just dark magic. There's so many crossovers, which I think is so interesting as well. Like I said, I've learned so much.
So candles then.
Hmm.
I mean, I do have candles and I don't use them as much as I probably should,
Mm.
mainly because they take a long time to burn. Is it a myth that when you light a spell candle, you've
Yeah.
got to let it burn down for it to work? Or is it just one of those things like you can't buy your own tarot cards?
Oh, do you know what? So many people come in and say, so, I know that you can't buy your own tarot cards. So,
Oh,
XYZ got them. And I'm like,
it's
huh?
such bullshit.
I only found out about that 2 weeks ago. I mean, I bought all my tarot decks and nothing's happened to me since.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think stop putting so much pressure on things. Why are there so many rules? You don't have to do rules unless it's like hurting someone. But in terms of letting a candle burn down, I think it depends on what type of work you're doing. I saw something the other day and I was like gobsmacked. I'm like, why do I feel really stupid in this moment in time? So I often like to do mini spells or using less candles, for instance, because I'm in the shop anyway and I'm like doing a lot, but I do like to do stuff for social media. So I don't want to use big amounts of products. So I started doing mini spells like in a tea light. I thought, okay, that's quite cute, and it's inexpensive, and it's still, the same, essentially the same thing. It's like a quick spell, but I was dressing everything on top, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And I was watching a video yesterday, and he was essentially putting all the ingredients into an empty tea light, and I was like, oh, what's he gonna do? Maybe he's gonna pour the wax in afterwards, but no, he obviously took the wax out of the tea light, put everything in, put the actual tea light wax back on. I was like, that is bloody genius. Why did I not think of that? That is amazing. So I'm going to steal that idea. But again, there's work that I do in rituals where I feel like you would need to burn the candle down, because possibly the intention or the ritual that you're doing is quite significant and a lot needs to go into it. So I think in terms like that, I think, yeah, the candle needs to burn down, and then you really need to get rid of that afterwards, because you're like, mm-mm. But then if it's like something quite quick and easy, like, I don't know, maybe you want some fast cash, or you just want a bit of happiness or something quick, I don't think it matters, because I think you can possibly just come back to it later. I think if it was a case of, I needed a bit of confidence today because I'm just feeling a bit low, then and you've got a massive candle and you want to do something and set that intention, I don't think there's any harm in having a bit of that for that day. So you kind of refreshing, and it's not something that you might need every day. It's like a little pick me up kind of thing. So I don't know. I think I'm very much like less rules, because again, it's very personal. But I do think it just depends on the job. Like if you've got something that really needs handling and you like, oh, yeah, then you're gonna use the whole candle.
I've just got a drawer full of like tiny bits of candle, that's, I don't want to get stuck in holders, so I have to blow them out,
Yeah.
and then like it's stuck in candle holder. I'm like, fucking witch problems. I can't get the candle out. You know what I mean? So,
It's hilarious. It's like I was doing a quite an important spell, and I'm like, yeah, this is really, and I'm like very conscious of, you need to get rid of everything, every last drop of candle. So I'm like scrubbing at the candle holder. I'm like, oh, should I just throw the whole candle away? No, it's really wasteful. So yeah, I'm exactly the same, but just less rules. Less rules, I think.
yeah. When you start out and you read up on all the witch and the Wicca way of life, I mean, there's just so many rules, isn't there? And I think people
Yes.
either get really into them or step away and go like, oh no, it's too much for me. I can't abide to all these rules.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's hard. So I've got ADHD, so I often forget anyway. Like I'm very much living in the moment. And even when I'm doing spell work, I still have to refer to my notes and books. Some things I remember. But yeah, when there's rules as well, it kind of takes the enjoyment out of it. And I feel like you should be enjoying the work that you're doing, because I think that adds to it as well. Like if it's coming from within and you're like bored and you're like, oh, I can't bother to do this, then I do think it's going to affect the outcome. It's going to affect the work that you're doing.
Yeah, totally. Follow your instincts, because it's in there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And I always like the example of your birthday cake, blowing a candle out.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably everybody's first ever magic spell, because it's like making a wish on a candle.
Right. Right. And there's just so much magic everywhere. But I just don't think, I think we're kind of drummed into that thing of, magic and witchcraft is bad. Like I only found out, again, through the shop, what is it, the last 100 years or something, you could still go to prison or be persecuted for calling yourself a witch or even saying that you do any type of spell work. I'm like, what? Everyone's doing it. You're all doing it, really?
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. What's that? Like a dandelion thing, when you make a wish on the and you're blowing it. Come on, that's spell work, really.
Yeah. Of course
Everything.
it is. Yeah.
Everything.
And when you're a kid and you make perfume out of rose petals in a bottle, what is that right there? I was doing that every day of my childhood.
You were getting all the attraction, obviously.
It's mad. It's just like, oh, yeah. And then like Christmas tree, there were a meme going around saying decorating your Christmas tree is magic, like welcome to paganism. And everybody's like, what? Like, you're doing it, mate. You're doing it.
Well, you're just getting a bit of nature from outside and putting it in your house and putting lights on it and a star.
A star. What could that be?
Yeah, I wonder.
Cool. So have you got any hot tips with candles, to make them more powerful, or something you do that nobody else really does that's just amazing that you want to share?
Oh, see, I need to talk to other witches more often because I don't know what other people do. And that's my thing. I think I would like to have a coven or be in a coven.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, right? Because it makes so much sense. Imagine just having a group where you chat, have a bit of wine, and swap spells and say what works and what didn't. But then if you need to do something almighty and powerful, you all group together. Yeah. I think that would be awesome. So I don't know if I do anything that other people do. I guess with my candles, like my jam is like 7-day candles. So for those that don't know, I don't know if they're from hoodoo or like Christianity, like it's a word I can never say, Catholicism.
Catholicism.
Yes, that one.
I can't say it either.
Yeah, it's one of those funny words. I'm like, I can't. I'm just like Christian.
Yeah.
Hoodoo is a mixture of like African spirituality and Christianity. So there's elements of both. So a 7-day candle, for instance, it's in a long jar and they come in different colors and they can be dressed for different intentions. Anything from like money drawing to court cases or better business. Loads and loads of different things. But essentially, I think because my spiritual journey or spellwork journey has been it's been something that I've done on my own. It's not something that's been passed down or I've even learned from people that I've known. It's really just been what's been within and things that I've read up on and experiences and travel. So I think with my work, there's kind of elements of lots of different things. So the 7-day candles, I do dress with intention oils. Sometimes I might make up my own oils and dress it with that. Again, herbs, roots, powders. But I've actually started incorporating crystals in them as well, which isn't traditional with 7-day candles. Possibly because I'm very extra. I'm just like, yeah, man, why not? Add a bit of extra sauce in there and add the crystals to it as well, just to make it even more powerful. So I don't know, maybe that's just something that I do or some people do it already, but I guess that's kind of what I've started doing recently.
A 7-day candles, one of your favorites?
Yes.
Yeah.
So 7-day candles, again, it's in the name. The ritual is you burn them for 7 days. And depending on what the actual ritual is, you may start it on a particular day and you burn it for 7 days as part of your ritual. You write whatever it is that your concern or what the intention is or part of the ritual on a piece of paper or parchment paper, and you put it underneath your candle and you burn it for 7 days, basically kind of around the same time. And then on the 8th day, if you've got any of the wax left, you let it burn down. So that's why I was saying, it depends on what you were doing, if you needed to burn it down to the end. But yeah, they probably are my favorite, to be honest. I'm not sure why. Probably because for me, they're the most powerful type of spell because it's a lot of work and quite a long period of time that you'd be doing it. But usually, because it is something that is 7 days, I feel like if there's something that you really, really, really need to work on, they're a bit like quite important spells, if that makes sense. Usually if there's a problem or something that you really need or you just need a bit of help. So maybe it's like 7-day candles for me are like, a bit like a Superman, like a superhero kind of bit of spell work. It's something that you really, really want. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And I did a money drawing candle recently, custom order. And I was like, how can I really make that? And I was like, yes. I actually put a £50 note in it. I dressed the £50 note. I put it inside the 7-day candle at the bottom, and I dressed the candle, and it was just like, you know when you ever do a spell and you're like, this is chef's kiss, this is
Like,
this is yes, right? Right. And I'm always doing it for other people, never myself. I'm like, why have you never done the £50 note? But that was spectacular. And then I sent it to the person. They were like really happy with it, and they gave me feedback. They were like, I haven't even burnt it, and I got XYZ. I'm like, of course you did. Of course you did.
I got 50 quid. It's amazing. I found 50 quid in my candle.
Right?
That's bananas that you put a 50 note in it. I mean, it didn't burn, did it? Did it burn?
No. So so with the 7-day candles, they're in a jar, but I kind of do a thing where I can heat the sides. So I made a hole down the side and put it right at the bottom. And I did say, don't burn it down to the bottom with the £50 note in, because the idea is also they're going to take the £50 note out of it before it's burnt down. But because the £50 note's dressed and everything, you're going to put it in your wallet and you're going to keep it. You're not going to spend it. So it's essentially like just keeping that going as well. So I was like, really, I like that one. I like that one.
And also, you owe me 50 quid.
Yeah.
Give it back to me when you're done.
Yeah. So that was quite enjoyable to do. I love thinking of new ideas and kind of incorporating different ideas as well. Because again, with spell work and spells, a lot of them come from intuition for me, because again, it's not something that was passed down. So I will look things up like in spell books and other resources, but then I feel like when you're doing it, it's not necessarily following it to a T. I think it depends on the situation, but also what comes from inside you as well. And I guess for me as well, not every spell is going to be exactly the same, because I'm working with different people and different situations.
Yeah, I get that. My thing is sigil magic. It's my most powerful magic. It's the magic that people buy from me the most.
Mm-hmm.
And then they tell you, don't they, the outcome. And I'm always like, bloody hell, I can't believe I could do that. I mean, it is that big. And I've had sigils for people, and it's trying to sell the house, and I make it, and 2 weeks later the house is sold.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, that's just amazing that I can bend reality just that little bit for them.
Yeah. But not yourself. Why are you not doing it for yourself?
I do have some sigils tied on me.
So I've actually got some new candles that I've ordered. I love to see what other people are doing, because in my area, there's not many people. Like I said, I need my coven. So I saw these candles that were in a jar, but they were like embossed, but in the jar. So I was like, I wonder if they melted it out the jar, then did it, and then put it back in. So I tried it, and it was a mess. I was like, why am I not able to do what they can do? And then I found out they're actually completely different candles. They're pull-out candles. So like the 7-day candles, they're in a jar. but the pillar comes out. So then you have room to do the engraving. So
Okay.
that's going to be my next thing, doing the sigils on the candle, dressing it and putting it back in the jar.
Oh, I
Yes.
like that. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
They look
yeah.
very pretty, very pretty. But my thing is as well, it's like, I think with that, you don't necessarily have to burn it. That could just be something that's there. But then if you really, really want to do the extra, then you burn it. Yeah.
Yeah, sigils are amazing, aren't they?
Mm.
And sometimes I do write them in, with a pin. It's funny you're on about a coven because I'm thinking about creating a magic circle just at the local crystal shop in my neighbourhood.
Nice.
Because, like you're saying, I want to do magic with other people for other people. So if we all got together and just went around the room each month saying, like, so what do you want? Let's do it. Like, what do you want? Let's do it. And I dream of that. I dream of doing magic with other witches. Not really strict covens, because I know strict covens are like, if you don't come, you're out. I don't really want that. I want people to come to me when they can because life.
Yeah. I didn't know that you have to go to this sounds like a governor's meeting, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, from hearsay and stuff and research, certain Wiccans, they have strict codes of conduct to be part of a coven. You have to do certain things, dress certain
Oh.
ways, nothing
Oh.
can before the coven meeting. You've got to trust each other 100%. It's like, fucking hell, I trust maybe one person 100% ever, so I don't really know how it's a thing. But I mean, I've got little kids and they're always going to be my priority, so I can't ever do a proper coven like that because they get sick, then that's it. I'm staying home,
Yeah, of course. It's
So,
the rules thing again.
so
Why
yeah,
so
I'm at
many
my own. I'll
rules?
call it the friendly coven. The friendly green witch and a friendly coven.
I love that. I love that. Oh, you should do it. I think you should do it.
I've said it now. I find that when I say stuff on the podcast, it's manifesting it. And every time people listen to it, it's like a little bit more manifesting.
Absolutely.
You mentioned something weird going on in your shop then.
Oh.
What's this? What's this? Tell me.
I mean, I'm sitting in the shop on my own now. Or am I alone? So yeah, everyone's always like, oh, so if you started a spiritual shop, there must be something, like you must have seen stuff. I think for people that don't really understand spell work and stuff, I think they kind of just splice everything together. So they're like, you're a witch, you can see ghosts, you can do this, and you can, I don't know, raise the dead and stuff like that. But I'm like, it's very personal. But I think I've always felt like a bit different. And there's one moment in my life when I was a lot younger where I definitely came across some kind of energy which was other, I should say. And the best way to explain it is kind of like, imagine 3 different ways of seeing and hearing. So you see what's in front of you, but then in your head, you can you hear your own voice or whatever it's like when you're thinking, you can hear something. And it's like the in-between. In the in-between, I think I was about 6, 7. And I was at the end of my bed. There was this entity, and it was just unpleasant. Just like laughing, really not nice. And I just remember sitting there being really, really scared, and it was kind of just feeling like it was just getting a lot bigger and a lot darker the more scared I got. And I said, I'm gonna go and get some water. And it's like, no, don't get the water. And I'm like, I'm going to get the water. And it just kept on shouting, don't get the water. I'm like, oh. So little me ran, got water, put it next to my bed. And it went. And I was like, I don't know what that was, but all right. And it wasn't until years later that I told my mum when I was an adult. I told my mum about it. And she was like, it's really weird because in that house, I had felt things too, to the point where I had to leave the house one time because it just felt too much. And I was like, well, I'm glad you didn't tell me at the time, but also, what was that? But in the shop, when I've been decorating the whole shop myself, help with other bits and pieces from my husband, and my cousin has done the heavy lifting bits. But from November I got the keys in end of July, September. And every day I was just painting, decorating, but staying here really late and often by myself. And it was like, some nights I'd just see something in the corner of my eye and be like, well, okay. or think I could see like a figure standing there. I'm like, all right. It's like the energy or the feeling that there was something else there just kept on getting more and more and more. And there was one day that I put some pictures up, and they're just in the corner. They're just for decoration purposes. They're not for sale. And there was one particular picture that I was like, I like it. It doesn't really go with everything, but I'm going to put it up anyway. And the frame didn't have any glass in it. And I thought, well, it doesn't matter because it just kind of goes with the vintagey vibe anyway. So put it on the wall. And like every 5 minutes, I noticed that it kept on coming off. It wouldn't come off completely. It would just slide down. And there was another picture below it. So it would just sit on it. I'm like, put it up. And when you just do something like 10,000 times, I'm like, all right. Let me change the fixings on the back. Because obviously I haven't done it properly. And maybe it's just like not working. So I did that. And then maybe like a few minutes later or whenever, it's like it came off of the wall, like it was pushed and slammed on the floor. And I was like, well, all right, you obviously don't want it there. So I was like slightly freaked out, but I'm like, fine, I'll just take it home and I'll replace the picture then. So I put a different picture there. But I caught it on camera. It didn't just fall, it kind of came out and down. That was weird. And then I think maybe 2 weeks later, my husband was here at the cash desk, and on the bottom shelf, and the shelves aren't slanted, they're completely straight. There was a heavy book. It was on its side, and I heard it came off the shelf and landed on the floor. And I was like, okay, there's no reason for that to come off the shelf. Really, there's no vibrations, there's no wind, like, ugh. And then we tried to look on the camera, and obviously wasn't on the camera. And then the third time that it happened, over Christmas, I was here, a friend came down, and we were just having some wine in the shop, just a little get out the house type of thing, pretend I'm doing work. So she came, and I'm like, yeah, let's pretend we're doing work.
Looking busy.
Yeah, looking busy. And a product came off of the top shelf. Again, no reason, off the shelf. And I was like, yeah, that kind of stuff happens here. And she was like, but there was no reason for it to come off the shelf. Nothing happened. There's no wind, whatever. I'm like, yeah, it just happens, babes. It's just one of those things. So I do feel like there is presence here in the shop, and many people that come into the shop who kind of like clairvoyance or that kind of thing, or feel kind of energy. Hello. Oh, are you there? So this is what I mean. Things keep on happening in the shop. And like, I don't know.
Got to say, we were talking about this possible weirdness in the shop, and the internet has been fine all night, and then I just got cut off and the whole thing just stopped working. So I had to reload the chat and record again. And now we're like, what? Why? What?
I mean, hopefully you managed to save everything, and we don't have to. Well, I wouldn't mind talking to you again, but yeah, this is what I mean. Like, things keep on happening in the shop. I had a client come in, spiritual consultation. Actually, no, it wasn't even a spiritual consultation. She came in for a tarot reading, but the tarot read was running late, and we had a conversation. And what she had to say essentially sounded like a horror movie, like dabbled with stuff we shouldn't have as teenagers. Stuff kept on happening, kind of a bit worried and want to figure out what's going on. I'm like, okay, I'm even a bit like, oh, babes, you really shouldn't have, but I don't want to be that parent that's like, don't do stuff you don't understand.
Don't tell me it was a Ouija board.
It was worse than that, babes. I'm not even going to say, because client confidentiality,
yeah,
but
of course, yeah.
It was a lot. My light starts flickering in the corner. I'm like,
I can see it.
Why is that flickering? And essentially this energy was just there since they did the stuff, just constantly. I'm like, you need to, well, I'm not going to say what they needed to do, but they needed to do some work and get other people involved. But yeah, now you're coming to F up my shop. She bought some stuff, till turned off. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, where have I unplugged it? What is going on? Called my husband, technical support all the time. He's like, did you unplug something? I'm like, no, I did not. It's not working. And then all of a sudden it just came back on. I think that's too many coincidences, to be honest.
Yeah.
Really. Now they're
Really?
talking
Yeah.
about it, I'm like, oh, sorry, am I not supposed to?
As a witch, I don't really believe in coincidences that much. Like
No.
tiny ones, sure, but like massive ones, no.
Yeah, there's just too many things. But again, it's like crossovers with all of these types of things. And I don't really know too much about spirits and ghosts and stuff. Like, I'll watch stuff and I'm like, that is mega cool. I've had different types of readings in the past. And the main thing people have said is like, it's in you. So I don't even know why you're coming here. I'm like, okay, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to. Like, I don't know. It's like these things, like things coming off the shelves. I'm like, all right, whatever. You're being silly, but yeah. And I'm like saying hello and goodbye and being respectful and, sharing the space. But I think if it was, there's so much noise going on up here anyway. So I'm like, anyone else just trying to chat to me and trying to tell me to like send messages to other people. I'm like, I couldn't, babes. I couldn't. So I don't know.
Is the shop old then? Has it got a history that you know of? Or...
Oh, well, welcome to Colchester. So, Colchester is meant to be one of the oldest cities in the UK. Many people just find Roman coins around their gardens or whatever. Queen Boudica was here. There's lots of history. We've got Colchester Castle, and apparently there were witches in there. Like, you're talking Game of Thrones, you're talking dragons, you're talking everything in Colchester. So my shop, very small. And when you open the back door, so there's the shop floor, and then there's kitchen, very tiny, open the back door. There's a wall straight away that goes around Colchester kind of thing. And that's part of, I think, the wall that was protecting the castle. So I'm like, number one, there is so much history in that wall, energy, spirits, whatever connected with that. I'm not surprised that there's stuff going on here. But one of the tarot readers that you can book through the shop, I told her about the things coming off the wall because I know that she's got like a little, she has an interest in like paranormal activity and stuff like that. And I told her, and then the next time she came in, she had some kind of ghost busting gadget. I'm like, what's that? And it's like a some kind of energy reader, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, okay, so I use this for stuff and, you can put it on. And she told me about the colors. I'm like, interesting. She's like, you can borrow it if you want. And if anything happens, if it goes red, it means it's like right in front of you or kind of flickering. It's around. I'm like, don't know if I'm going to do it on my own, but okay. But she also said she did some research and she said underneath Colchester and possibly this street, therefore possibly the shop, there are old tunnels. She found something that a lot of witches were bricked up in these tunnels as punishment for being a witch. So there's a lot of things going on underneath the streets of Colchester. But there's like a pub a minute's walk away. It's meant to be haunted, apparently. And then on a high street, like 3 minutes away, is probably haunted hotel and stuff. So there's lots of energy and things going on that I'm not really surprised, to be honest. I still love it. I'm very interested in it. But not so much that I want to know 100%, if that makes sense.
Ignorance is the safe place to be.
Yes, exactly. But it would be cool. So I don't like to dabble with things I don't know what I'm doing. But if someone came in and they knew what they were doing, like some kind of seance, and I'm like, all right, I'll participate by sitting and watching and learning. Me doing something on my own? No, absolutely not.
You probably might get loads of offers when I get this on the internet. People will be,
Well, I wouldn't mind.
Seance.
Well, that's it. So with the shop, I get all types of people coming in, and I've learned that stereotypes do not exist. I knew that anyway, but even more so because I'm like, spiritual people, they have a certain look. I don't know, they're a bit different. Nope. Everyone, guys, whatever. There was a gentleman that came in. I'm like, hiya. And he was just looking around for ages. I'm like, would you like any help? Thinking that he was shopping for someone. And he came over and then explained that he's cool, but he's a medium. He's been doing this for years. He's seen the most. He used to do house clearances. I'm like, blown away. Yeah. And then talking about how, you know, these house clearances, he would work with priests. I'm like, in my head, I'm like the films. Because they still, at some churches, still kind of do that service. But again, it's very hush hush. But yeah, he's done all of that. And we just had conversations. I mentioned, like, it was the first instance, just the picture coming off the wall, nothing else, because that hadn't happened yet. And he's like, well, you know, with these things, it's like they can just be there and not cause any harm. And some spirits can be a bit cantankerous, but you just have to remind them that you are in charge, because you can get rid of them. It's not just a case of they're going to be there forever and like torment you. So it's like, yeah, you're sharing a space, but they need to behave or you can get rid. So it's fine. Like, I've had loads of different types of people, like I said, mediums, people that feel that whether they like it or not and don't know how to turn it off. They've always come to the shop and felt like, I do feel something, but I don't think it's negative. And whatever you've done to protect the shop is very like good. It's well protected space. It's great energy. It's all positive. So I'm like, I feel like I'm a bit safe with that knowledge. And I do feel it myself. It's like, I definitely feel like there's something here, but more just here, like a spectator or acquaintance or whatever. And it could be multiple. I don't know. I don't know how these things work.
A spectator, like all these ghosts going like, go on, lass, go on.
They're literally all behind me, like, what is this? Is this right? I'm like,
knocking it off, like, you know.
I don't like that book. One was rubbish. So yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Oh.
I mean, I'm quite interested in your Orleans visit.
Oh.
That you mentioned.
So talking about ghosts. Okay, so
segue.
I went to and it's been on my list for so many years. And a friend was just like, we should just go. And me being me, an adult with kids, I'm like, am I allowed? Am I allowed to go on holiday and do fun and not spend money on my children? What? So I did. I went to New Orleans for a week, and it was just, it's like if you've ever been to, I'm sure you have, but anyone that's been to like Glastonbury and seen all the shops on that long high street, it's all spiritual shops. Have you been?
No.
Oh, okay. You should go. So in Glastonbury, it's like a whole high street dedicated to crystal shops, spiritual shops, and it's one after the other after the other. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Every high street should be like this. New Orleans is very cultural. It's like hoodoo, it's spell work, it's so much more and so much history as well, which is amazing. So I went and it was just pure bliss. I went on a few history talks. That was amazing. I did get manhandled by a ghost. I don't know what it is, a ghost. I somehow attract them. I don't know if they think I can hear them. Too much going on in my head. I can't hear what's going on there. But yeah. So we were in this pub and I had one of them strappy tops on, like, you know, like a halter neck thing, but it's very thin strap. And I always double knot because, you know, I don't want boobs to be falling out everywhere. Went to the loo. Didn't need to undo my top, but when I came out of the loo, it kind of just fell like, oh, it's undone. Like, that's a bit weird. So I didn't think anything of it. Like, tried to tie it up, got my friend to do it and help me. A couple of nights later, we went on a tour, like a history tour type of thing. And then he said, oh, we're going to stop off at this pub. And I was like, oh, we went there the other day. Cool, yeah, it's nice in there. And he was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, there is a pirate ghost in that pub. And I'm like, pirate ghost? Yeah, thinking of was it Pirates of the Caribbean? I'm like, all right, Jack. Right, exactly like that, but with a wooden leg too. And then he said, the thing is with this ghost, it's meant to be a bit of a naughty one because he's known to undo women's bra straps and do stuff. I'm like, I got manhandled by this pirate ghost in New Orleans. You're taking the mick. What? And honestly, I don't jump to, oh, it's a ghost or it's this. I like to think properly first because I'm like, I don't want to be one of those people that just always assumes everything's like that. So I'm like, but I definitely double knotted it and it was super tight. So how It must be. Again, come on, a ghost that undoes women's bra straps. And I didn't have a bra on either. I just had the strappy tops. He was like, probably like, yeah, this is an easy one. But so that was an interesting trip, an interesting day.
Did you go back to the pub?
Well, on the tour we did, because we stopped. That was one of the stop-offs. And I was like, I'm just going to sit here.
Just sit like this.
Yeah, like, I know. Well, you're not again, mate.
Yeah.
I'm watching. Right. So that was funny. But yeah, I think I would I'm toying with the idea of kind of attempting to possibly draw out that kind of psychic ability or whatever it is that you would call it. Because I'm half interested. But then I'm just like, I just want to know what to do properly. I don't want to start dabbling and be like, shit, the fuck. I've just started some apocalypse and let every ghostie out, like in Ghostbusters or something, opened a portal to doom and ended the world.
Like Poltergeist.
Yes, essentially.
Sucked into TV.
Oh my gosh, yes. That was the worst, but as in the scariest film ever. But yeah, I'm curious. What about you? Do you have any other things?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you've listened to my podcast. I did one about my mum, who was an amazing psychic.
Yes.
And so I've always known about it. And I mean, there were no internet back then. She didn't do any research. She just went around her life blagging free stuff from Chippy on my own. Do you know what I mean? She didn't do research into people. She didn't have the time. She had me, and I was so needy. So I know she wasn't making shit up that she'd found.
Yeah.
Elsewhere. And it was really common for us to wait at a bus stop to go shopping, and then there'd be some person stood and she'll just start talking to them. And then the spirit would be like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
In her head, and she'd just say random stuff because she used to not want to scare people. So it was a very delicate balance of saying stuff without like almost being noticed until somebody went, how'd you know that? And then go one way or the other. But most people were just shocked and amazed, that she could do it. So I have always known about it, and I didn't really respect it when I was young, and only now as an adult and a witch, I'm more interested. So I did do a ghost hunt at the beginning of the year, and that went amazing. Did table tipping at the table, and I had to walk with it. And I wasn't scared. It was just like I'd won the lottery. It was just like, this is confirmation that it is absolutely something else.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had little things, and I do automatic writing, and I try and communicate with, like candles in front of mirrors, divination and stuff. At the moment, I've neglected it quite a lot because I'm always podcasting, and I do Reiki healing, and that takes quite a lot of my time. So I used to do Sunday night magic, and I used to do psychometry and trying to connect on a Sunday night, and that's kind of like fallen by the wayside now. So I need to bring it back.
That's the thing. It's like time, isn't it? I think that this is the first time I've kind of niched down somewhat in my whole entire existence. Like, it's the shop, just the shop. I'm like, okay, I can handle that. But then I'm like, okay, so I like doing candle work and I like doing that. But then I want to be a psychic, but not too much of a psychic. And I like tarot cards. Yeah, it's just time.
You can be over-inspired. At the moment, I'm really over-inspired. I want to do absolutely everything all the time. And then that's when it gets a bit dodgy because you don't end up sleeping and stuff. So
yes, absolutely. It's almost like I've forgotten the outside. And I think with spell work and when you're a medium or, whatever, you can become so, I don't know, just so involved in what you're doing that you forget that outside exists.
Yeah.
And I think it's important just to remember, both worlds, even though out there's a bit, dodge, and in here it's really fun. But just a bit of balance, So it's important to just come out of yourself now and again and not get so far in with the magical stuff.
Like lights up my soul. Like I really like it.
It's really fun. I love it.
Brilliant. Well, I think it's feeling like it's wrapping up.
Oh,
did you like it?
I had such an amazing time. Thank you so much for having me.
Plug yourself. Where can we find you?
Oh yeah. So at Wax Spiritual on Instagram and Facebook, and waxspiritual.com. We have a website. Not everything's on the website yet because things sell out before I even get a chance to put them on there, but we're getting there. And I'm the actual physical shop is based in Colchester in Essex.
And is
Wax
it open
Spiritual.
5 days a week, is it?
So it's open Tuesday to Saturday, 9:30 till 5. And we have tarot readers, mediums that are booked in. The shop's quite small, so essentially those bookings happen outside of business hours. So, you come in for a tarot reading, there's not going to be shoppers around. The shop's closed and it's one-to-one and totally private. But they are on the website, so you can check them out as well. But yeah, all good things here. That's what it says on the window. We do good things.
Oh, I'm so excited for it, and I'm so pleased it's going well.
Thank you so much.
A new little baby business, and I love it. So thank you so much for joining us, Sareta. It was amazing.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You have been listening to the Bell Witch podcast, Witching in the 21st Century, written and produced by me, Swailes, a Friendly Green Witch. Official podcast photographer is Beverly Thornton. Music by Jeff Harvey of Pixabay, made on Wavepad Master and distributed via Zencaster. Want to come and guest on the show or got a topic you'd like me to cover? Email me at thebellwitchpodcast@yahoo.com. If you're enjoying the show, please leave me a review. Thank you for listening and stay magical, witches!